Check, check. Ooh. That is nice. Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning. How's everyone doing? All right. So, again, folks, welcome in. Apologies again that initially the schedule got swapped around because Bronies React was intended to be on Friday, and it wasn't. Because I wasn't here, because I'm lazy and decided I was going to fly United Airlines and they didn't want me to be here for another 13 hours. So once I finally got here, for those that don't know, I got here at 7 p.m. on Friday. Unfortunately, that meant I missed basically everything that was supposed to happen on Friday that I was going to be a part of. But I've made it somehow, some way. Thank you. Now, I know that some of you really don't want to cheer. You're like, I guess you're here. No, but again, seriously, thank you for coming on out to all of our panels this weekend. We've been having a lot of fun. We're going to be having fun here today as well, as we're going to have this Bronies React panel that's going to go from 10 to 11:30. And then following that, there's also going to be a Jackbox panel that's going to be held, which I'm going to be a part of. I believe Paleo's also going to be a part of that as well. And then following that's the charity auction. So it's going to be very busy in here throughout this Sunday. So, and I see some of you munching down on the breakfast in here. So yeah, I feel it. I have my breakfast here as well. I would like to give a shout out to Assassin Monkey for my nutritious stroopwafel mini that I'll be. Yes. Yes, sir. Gotta love the Dutch. So I'm going to go ahead and bring people on up here for this. Now this is, again, the Bronies React panel. And I'm also totally just now realizing that I forgot. I've been in here for about like 10 minutes prior, and not once did I mention this to the AV. But before I even mention anything to AV, can we give a round of applause to them for a great job this weekend? And now for my inquiry, is it possible, so I think we only need the 4 mics up here. Is it possible for us to set up the 5th as a Q&A mic? Is that cool? Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Once again, round of applause for all the staff here at Whinny City. All right, so I'll go ahead and start bringing les people up. First off, why don't we bring up Paleosteno. Hi, Paleo. Hello. Good morning. Is it? Are you having a good morning?
Yes.
You promise?
I promise.
Good. Why don't we also bring up Silver Quill? And last but certainly Sunday morning, Jaxblade!
I'm going to move this so you can put that. At least it's not Monday, right? Did you want a wireless mic? Actually, I think that's
All right, so while we set this up, who's your favorite pony? Twilight Sparkle? Fluttershy? Starlight Glimmer? I don't have to ask anymore.
Is that your camera right there?
Yeah.
What's it doing down there, I'm wondering?
It died.
Oh no!
Oh no!
It has passed.
Okay, well wait, let me clarify. It's plain dead. It didn't actually.
Oh, it's just resting.
That would be really sad if it didn't. Now, you're making puns, aren't you? Like, that are going over my head that I don't even
Most of them
understand.
actually invoked Monty Python. This camera is no more!
Actually, I wanna apologize. It's always dangerous when we have Silver and Jax on a panel at the same time. Whatever happens with that. So, is there anyone out there who's not familiar with what Bronies React even is? And it is okay to raise that hand. Paleo?
Stop it, you.
So, I don't think anyone did. No one raised their hands. Oh, yeah, there's the hand. There we go. So, Bronies React is a series on YouTube that we've been putting together now for over 10 years. It started out with us just making some kind of joke parodies back to initially starting out to what was a reaction that was made to Bronies from the Fine Brothers, which is a very big reaction channel from back in the day. I don't actually know if they're still...
Are they doing anything anymore?
I don't know.
Well, they've done they branched off and did so many different React series. There was like kids to teens to adults to boomers.
It's just called React.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
see,
it's
they lost their fineness.
yeah.
Actually tried to trademark.
They tried to.
Yeah.
So anyways, Fine Brothers, they started out. The big series they had was called Kids React. They had kids reacting to like memes online and just having them try to explain it as kids, and it was charming. It was adorable. And then they're like, well, why don't we up it to the next level and have teens react to things? You know, maybe things that are a little bit more adult. More mature. And one of the things I had them react to was the phenomenon of the Brony Fandom. And all they showed them was the intro to the show and then said, okay, why are men into this? Why would they, the way it was presented, the teens were like, what the heck is going on? And I thought it'd be funny if, what if the Bronies reacted to the teens' reaction of the Bronies? Inception. That's what eventually spawned the series. And then we started to do reacts to episodes, and that really became the main kind of topic for the series, was actually doing show-related reactions, and we've been doing that again for over 10 years at this point, guys. Yeah.
We feel old.
Does that bring pain to anybody when you're like, what? Yeah. I don't know if I see them, but there's somebody who came up to me this week and that was like, yeah, I got into your stuff when I was in 4th grade. I'm 19 now.
I told that to Silver.
And I actually started to shrivel up on the spot.
I guess I should have told that to you too, because I started watching your stuff when I was in, I think, 4th or 5th grade, and I'm now going into my last year of college.
Well, stop it. So what we enjoy doing here for the Bronies React panels is these are very much driven by you, the audience. We love interacting, we love telling stories, answering questions, and guys, I mean, whatever you could come up with, asterisk, family friendly, technically should be, mostly, at least. Whatever you guys want to come up with, it doesn't just have to be questions about Bronies React. It could be questions in regards to any of these individuals and their content that they make. It could be, again, some of you thought this may have been the Who Would Win panel. If you want to ask a Who Would Win question, this was also going to be the panel for Who Would Win. So you can ask us questions in regards to that. There's really, yes?
I have a question.
Okay, wait. But there's really no limit. Okay, now go.
Is that your breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A micro stroopwafel.
Yeah, this is it. This is so what you do is, for the micro stroopwafel, they have an adapter that you put into the regular size stroopwafel.
I gotta say, Race, I never thought you'd stroop so low.
Can we all, every time that any of them say a bad pun, can we just get the loudest boo? Come on.
You have
But this
only
isn't a
made
Dragon
people
Ball Z
powerful.
con.
So, with that, we have a Q&A mic, and this is, we typically like to do it by lines. So, anyone that wants to step up to the mic first and be our first question, I see one warming up to it. Yes, round of applause for our first question.
So you said this would be the Who Would Win house. So does this mean, since you have the spot, you won?
Oh my gosh, it's
Smajin.
spreading. Guys, it's Sunday morning.
Yes.
Go to church.
Race, you want to know something funny?
Well, we are
So,
in
like,
church.
the people who are doing not Bronies, Teens React and Kids React and all that. So, like, they interviewed some of those kids recently, and they were saying, they were just dunking on the Fine Brothers. They were, like, saying, oh, yeah, like, we weren't allowed to say most of our opinions. They told us, like, what to say, and they would, like, cut a lot of what we actually, like, had our opinions. So some people probably were like, oh, I don't mind that, but it was like, no, we have to promote this as weird and all this stuff. So, like...
Just like the Steve Harvey show.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times.
Good old Steve.
Kid end up becoming a Brony eventually? eventually.
Yeah, he did.
The next React, he was wearing a Brony shirt.
Yeah, he was.
Which again, I'm like, with some channels and whatnot, I'm not convinced whether or not he actually was like, oh yeah, let's get in the show, or the Fine Brothers was like,
Put it on.
There's a lot of people in the Brony fandom.
Right.
Let's make some of them happy. But yeah, it was funny seeing that contrast when he showed up for his next one. Everyone's like, aha, take that. So you were the one brave soul who stepped up to the Q&A mic, and you threw it down with a pun, and now no one's willing to ask a question.
Don't be looking at me now.
Here we go. And again, guys, don't be shy. We're here to have fun for the next now hour and 15 minutes. Let's do it.
All right, so this is a who would win fight. Who in the rafters do you think would win? There's a whole bunch of ponies up here. I just noticed that.
Oh, I didn't notice.
All right, so
I can't see him.
I see Sunset. I see Pinky.
Is that Celestia up there? Well, she won't do anything.
Well, yeah, she won't. She probably won't do anything.
Is Twilight up there?
No.
Okay.
Okay, then probably Celestia.
Who's this one? The blue one.
Probably Celestia if she actually like.
Rainbow Dash.
Oh yeah, go Rainbow Dash. I totally recognize her from this side.
Oh, and there's another one over there.
Oh, there's Gilda.
So for those that, because I know like some of the stuff's being streamed or recorded, for those that can't see, there's plushies that are lining the light bracket up here. I did also notice this yesterday, and I was like, okay. I mean, if Pinkie Pie really got pissed off, do we not?
Well, she has Toon Force, so she just
Right.
I
feel like she would.
What she can do when she's mad.
We've all seen the video.
It depends on the sequence in which events happen, because like Celestian Discord is gonna go one-on-one.
True.
Rainbow Dash will try to help and probably be caught in the aftermath. If Celestia wins, then Pinky can overwhelm her with cake.
Exactly. That's true.
And also,
Mountains of cake.
I'm experiencing a paradox. Princess Celestia is currently mooning us.
No, you're supposed to say boo.
No. Can you say
Either way,
Majin?
you empower me.
Can they say Majin instead?
Majin?
Yeah.
What's Majin? Is that like something
Majin
you put on like a
Buu from
sandwich?
Dragon Ball Z. Yes, haha, now you're trapped in my pool.
Do you want to just leave?
Yeah.
All right, so since you've stepped up, now I'm going to put you on the spot. And just because, again, you're the second brave soul, I'm going to have you come up with the most random question you can think of. Just something that's like ludicrous.
10, 9, 8.
Okay, so this
Seven.
is for Paleo.
Okay.
Yes,
Did you beat Dread Mode in Metroid Dread?
I did.
Okay, cool. I did too.
Nice.
All right, well,
Nice.
thank you.
There
You
you
came
go.
up with something.
I've beaten it 15 times.
15?
Yes. It's a good game.
Who does something that many times?
Okay, Zootopia.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a good question for you. How would you like a better breakfast?
What's
it?
Oh my gosh! Did you bring more cookies or something?
Yes.
I got more cookies.
Yes, more.
Do they just regenerate in this box? Because I know that box was empty yesterday.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
thank you.
that's awesome.
All right.
Oh, magnificent.
We're upgrading
Thank
to
you.
the next level of breakfast, guys.
Yeah.
Easy Moonbow.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Hello.
2 questions for Jaxblade. What are you in for?
What?
What are you in for?
What am I in for?
Yeah.
Get him!
Somebody get him.
Well, hopefully the other question wasn't for Jax. Oh, here he is.
Nah.
You're supposed to
but-
say the line, Jax.
Say the line, Bart.
No.
He killed a man.
I know. I was gonna lead up to it. I was gonna say it randomly, and just go like, I killed him and I'll kill all you too. And I was gonna like, just like.
But genuine question. ACRacebest. Since you're, I assume, you're the first one to coordinate Bronies React, right? And at the very beginning, what was the experience like gathering the people at first, or even like in the future ones?
Back in 2012, I'm trying to remember when the actual Fine Brothers one came out, but it was early 2012. I know that our React released in February of that year. It was a very interesting experience because we oftentimes, including last night, host a How to YouTube panel. And a lot of times people ask about getting started and eventually sometimes questions about collabing. And that was, my first step really into it was for me, at the time, I think I had 167 subscribers on YouTube. I'd been uploading videos that were more PMV-esque or almost anthology-esque because that was my initial inspiration for making content in the fandom. So I was putting that stuff together, and then this Fine Brothers video came out, and that's when I had the idea. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if we reacted back to this reaction? The thing was, I didn't know anybody personally in the Brony fandom outside of my very close friends who had got me into it, including my now wife, who was like, hey, watch an episode. So my next step was I need to go through and see if I can find people who are willing to do this. And I was searching, what I searched on YouTube was bronies with a camera. I was like, well, let's see who out there is willing to show their face and be a part of this. And I found a number of people. I may have contacted, I don't know, maybe 15 or so people. And I think I heard back from like 8 or 9, and 5 of those were willing to be a part of it. And one of which was, if anyone remembers, Solrak. Yeah. And it was funny because Solrak's like, wouldn't it be funny if I had art made of my pony and I'm just, I show up basically as his avatar instead of in person. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I think through him was also, I think at the time he also knew The Living Tombstone and was like, hey, what if we see if he wants to do it? And for some reason, Tomb was like, yeah, let's go. And then there were a couple others, some of which did not make a lot of appearances in the series, but I still would see them from time to time throughout the years, like Brony Mike. And then I'm sure a lot of you know, like Dusty Cat. Denotive, I know he has a presence out in this area as well. And yeah, it was just me going through and just asking people like, hey, is anyone willing to be a part of this video? Here's the idea. Here's what I want to do with it. And I had these 5 individuals put faith in me. They're like, we don't really know much about you. This can be a controversial type of video. And it's like, but hey, why not? Let's see what you can do with it. And them giving me that chance was initially what allowed what happened over the next 10 years. Because I hit up everybody going into it going, there's a chance that nobody's going to want to be a part of this. And if that happened, then we wouldn't have had the first one get made, and I don't know if I would have pursued something similar the way that we did. So once that video ended up going up, and I told everybody too, like when I was kind of explaining like, well, here's a little bit of the organization that we want to do, as far as like, we're going to answer these questions, react to the video itself. But I told them, I said, what I'm not looking to do in this video is I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to prove them wrong specifically. Because sometimes the last thing you want to do when you go on the internet is be like, well, here's why you're wrong. And it just comes across as defensive.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, you can't take a joke, or oh, you can't take this. I'm like, guys, we're just going to have fun with this. I just want this to be funny. I just want this to be something that people could get a laugh at, whether they're in the fandom or not. And the video went up, and I just remember at one point I got contacted, I think by Denotive, and he's like, are you seeing what's happening? And I was in college at the time, so I think I was in class, and I'm like, no, what's happening? And he's like, dude, you have to check out the video. And it was exploding. And it was a lot of people that were like, this is hilarious. And a lot of people that were like, you guys suck. And I expected that, though. I knew, because this was a very, it was a very hot time in the fandom where it was either you were a brony or you hated bronies on the internet. There was like no in between. And yeah, so I knew we were going to get that. I went in that with that expectation. And, but it was funny seeing all the people within the fandom that were all of a sudden like showing up in the comments that were like sticking up for the video. Many people I had never met. And then Denoda brought me into like this chat with a bunch of musicians in the fandom at the time, like Mike the Microphone, Alex S. A lot of these names that I'm like, holy cow, like you guys just hang out? Like that's neat. And that was actually the initial group I ever got to meet. I didn't know any of these guys at the time, none of you guys were in my first video.
No.
What were you doing?
Yeah. You weren't even in the fandom yet, right?
No, I was busy reading police reports.
Oh. Just getting ready for the Brony Fandom.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was so cool to see how the fandom kind of came and backed it up, and again how the initial group was willing to be a part of it. And I don't even know if I've ever answered this particular question in this much detail, but just because of the nature of this panel, it's like, well, I have that opportunity to do so. I'm forever thankful, both in the individuals that were willing to be a part of it at the get-go, and also just in the fandom for embracing the series as they did. Like, it was never intended to be a series, but we saw how successful it was. I think in 3 days it hit 100,000 views. For my channel of 167 subscribers, that's literally life-changing. It was like, what just happened? And that's when we were like, well, what if we make another one? We so conveniently had something happen with Derpy like a month later.
that month.
Yeah. And that's when we're like, well, why don't we react to this and talk about it? And then that's when it eventually spawned to us doing more and more stuff with the show.
Was that the first one that Saber was in?
Yeah, that was the first one Saber was in.
Yeah. Okay, so and again, folks, Saber Spark was supposed to be here this week, and unfortunately he got nailed with COVID, like tested positive for the day he was supposed to travel out. But this is a great story. Saber, he went to the gas station. He walked to the gas station to get muffins because his Derpy muffins. And I think he ate the muffins before he got back to film. And then he's like, oh, crud. And he had to go back and get more muffins.
He does that with food sometimes.
Yeah, he does that.
Sometimes. All the time.
Never trust Saber on food.
When he's like, hey guys, I like how now we're roasting him. Hey, I got some food if you guys are hungry, and then it's like, never mind. It's
Right.
I remember like somebody was gonna give some muffins or something to Tom. Yeah. And Saber's like, oh yeah, these were supposed to be for you, and they're like empty.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it. A lot of that early experience came to be, and then I was able to. Once the series gained traction, I was able to hit up people a lot easier because I actually had something to look at and go, oh, this is what you're doing. And for years and years, even to this day, I still get a lot of people that hit me up about like, hey, I'd love to be part of the series. And because of the logistics, I'm only able to utilize so many people. And I really appreciate the people that have been working with me. So that's one reason why we oftentimes see familiar faces in the show. But it is, people ask me, they're like, oh, did you run out of time? I promised I'd get to your question. That's all right. Yeah, it just, the fact that like people have asked, they're like, oh, when people ask you about being on the Bronies React series, do you ever, like, is it annoying that you get so many requests? And I'm like, no, it's actually like really humbling. It's neat to see how many people still love the series enough to want to be a part of it. And yeah, it's, and again, for all of you that showed up here today, like, again, thank you for all your support. So thank you guys. Thank you.
I have a question, like for all of us up here.
Yeah.
What was the first React you were part of? Race?
Let me think. Well, actually, I'll answer this by mentioning one other thing. Who out there knows who Panama Matt is? All right, so we got some people. So for those that don't know, he's a close friend of mine who I actually met through the Chippendale Rescue Ranger fandom before I ever got into My Little Pony. Yep. And before the Bronies React came out, I contacted him. I'm like, dude, I'm just looking for like another person to be part of this series. Just and I've explained this before, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to clarify how I'm saying that because I've said it for the numbers, and what I meant was the number of people that were actually up there in the video. And for him, he's like, no, that's not my thing. I don't wanna have my face on the internet and whatnot. And I laugh now because I remember telling him like, how many people do you think are actually gonna see this? And now that video has over 1 million views, it's like, well, maybe a couple. So what was yours?
My very first was A Royal Problem. Back when Starlight solved the friendship issue between Celestia and Luna. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had plenty of start-stop moments. It's like, oh, right, my house hates me in recording. Like all the windows are behind me, behind my sofa, behind the chairs. So it looks like there's a nuclear inferno going on behind me. For a while there, I had to wait until it was evening to even hope to record. Now I finally invested in some blackout blinds.
Oh, nice.
You did. They look real nice.
Thank you.
My first was, I think it was the season 3 premiere, because it was like right after we had been to Equestria LA, and like that's when we were at me, you, and Saber had actually been hanging out because like we first met at Everfleet Northwest 2012, but that was just when we were interviewing you.
It was very formal.
Yeah.
It was strange looking back at it now.
Yeah, we were interviewing you for the Brony Chronicles, but yeah, and then we were hanging out at Equestria LA that year, and they were talking about it, and I asked you about Bronies React, and yeah, that's when I was still like doing reviews at the time as the show was coming out. So yeah, the season 3 premiere, and then like a bunch of other ones afterwards.
Nice. Jax?
Okay, it was the first one. I remember it was supposed to be the college humor one because we were talking because you were messaging me at BronyCon 2012. But I forget initially how we like started talking. We started talking on Skype, and then you were seeing like BronyCon 2012 stuff, and I was like, oh, I wish you were here, dude. And then it was like prior to that you were like, oh, do you want to be in this Bronies React for this? And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. But they were like, oh, the season 2 finale is coming out. Do you want to like hop in on that real quick? And I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely do that. So that was like my very first one was the season 2 finale. And then I think after that I was just like, oh yeah, I can just like show up and do all this stuff. And it was super fun. But yeah, I remember Gabe actually messaged me in the first one. He was like, oh yeah, I saw you in that one. It's just like, I feel like I want to ask, but I don't want to, and all this. And so it was so funny with like Gabe, because he was just like, oh, I really would want to be in it, but I don't know how he would. And then lo and behold, he was in the next one too. So
Gabe was funny too, because when he hit me up, I got this message from someone named Christ Kids.
Yeah, Christ Kids is what I used to have, because we used to have YouTube messaging.
Yeah,
like you could just...
You used to be able to message people through YouTube.
That's been gone for like years now.
Yeah.
Back in our day.
We remember like every version of YouTube.
It's sad too, because when that went away, you lost like the archives of it. Like that was how I initially contacted Saber the first time ever.
Yeah, same.
Because he used music from Lord of the Rings, but I forgot where it was from, and I'm like, where's this music from? And he's like, oh, hey man, this is what it's from. And I'm like, that's cool. He answered me. What a guy.
Right.
So yeah, it's always, and that's again, I do con vlogs of everything. So like you see in the con vlog of Everfree Northwest 2012, me like formally meeting like Saber, like we're shaking hands, and then Paleo. Like it's so funny seeing how we were like interacting then, knowing what would eventually happen now.
It is funny. Yeah. That is funny too, because like I look back at like certain. I had known Paleo for a while and Saber for a while, because we used to talk on Skype all the time. And I met Hero. That was when I had no idea what Hero looked like. And then it was I think we met at BronyCon 2012. Yeah. But I just remember I was like, just come here, bear hug, and then that was it. And then like the rest of the weekend we hang out, and it was just super cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing a react to those blog videos of your first
Our
meeting?
first meetings?
Yeah. It's gonna be like 10 years since we first met at Everfree Northwest.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't even thought about it, but
that sounds funny.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd actually be really funny. Yeah. Like you could just compare, like, oh, this is how I met this person. This is how I met this person.
It's like everybody looks so different except for me.
It's true.
That's right. I don't know what Fountain of Youth. Hello.
How much of the footage do you edit before you send into race, and how much of the footage is edited after you receive it from the reactors?
Good question. I don't know if we've had this.
That's good. That is a good quiz, because sometimes there are certain scenes that I want specifically, like, there's this edit that I would like this way, so I'll edit it myself, or I'll like chop down the bits and send it myself. But sometimes it's just like, I'm working on this, so I'll send like Race a bunch of stuff, and I'll be like, okay, this is what I'm doing, but it sucks because I have like multiple takes, so I just will be like, Race, I mean this, I effed up, like do this one right here. Okay, no, I messed up again, I'll do this, and then I'll say like, da, 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 and then I'll specifically be like, I'm reacting to this scene right here, blah, 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 and I just mess up, and then I like just do it again and do it again. But so like, I try to edit it sometimes, but sometimes it's just like, I'll just send it that way.
Yeah, for what I do is I record my reaction and then I'll edit it to where I'll put a timestamp to where what I'm reacting to in the episode or whatever. And also sometimes I'll have a little description under the timestamp just so he knows like exactly what I'm reacting to.
I take my action footage and I watch it and think, oh God, I sound like that? And I listen for the clip. And then I take the clip from the episode, lay it on the editor timeline, I put my reaction to it, episode clip, my reaction. I try to cut it down to just the key elements. And, well, you spend a lot of time listening to yourself, you really start to hate the sound of your own voice. It'd be like, yeah, you hack, shut your trap.
Yeah, and it varies. As far as like a number of the reactors do that, where they'll edit in the show clip and then their actual reaction. And I've come to really appreciate that because it's like, oh, now there's no question. Because what happened over years and years was I used to specifically tell people, just give me the timestamps. And so they wouldn't even give me descriptions. It would, like, if it was just a timestamp. And for some reason, everyone started having different timestamps. Like, oh, I downloaded this from this place. Oh, I'm watching this on YouTube. I'm this here. And it started changing everything up. So I'm like, I don't get it. What is this reaction to? And sometimes in the reacts, I'll put in jokes that maybe I don't get, but I'm like, there's something here. I can just tell by the way this was delivered that there's something good here. The problem is if I don't also understand the joke, it's even harder to figure out, what is this supposed to be too? And yeah, when you're dealing with sometimes 10 plus people that reacting, it's harder.
One thing you did with the G5 movie react, one thing I was reacting to is when Izzy is saying, "Can you fly to the moon?" And that's why I played the Flight of the Moon song, but you had it as like an elevator song, like as they were going up.
I thought that was the joke.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really funny, Paleo. Yeah, because you stood there, or you sat there like for like a minute. Just
yeah, I was just playing the song because like that's what Izzy said. Can you fly to the moon?
Well, thanks for calling me out in front of all my friends. No, it's happened though. It's happened where there's been times where like Dusty's been like, well, why'd you put that there? And I'm like, that's where the timestamp was. I don't know. It's what it said. But yeah, it's funny dealing with all that. That's why with the episode clip, I'm always like, there's no question as to what this is actually to. So thank you, Silver Quill, bro hub. Yeah, bringing it back.
But even then, my jokes still make no sense. It's like, why would you say that?
Nah, I've been really, it's been really cool to see all the people that have been willing to take part in the series. Hello.
Hello. Thoughts on the new G5 special, and any chance we'll see a, react to it?
Do you guys want us to react to the G5 special? Yes. You like that? Well, good, because we're actually working on that right now. So, yes.
It's very weird because like it's called a special, but it really seems like it's a premiere.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those first two
It's even
episodes.
like labeled like that on Netflix, where it says Chapter 1, Episode 1. Yeah. So
yeah, it seemed like it was like the first two episodes of the G5 show.
Okay, so thoughts on the G5 special? Who wants to start?
I'll start it off just because I think everyone has more fun. I would say like So what are the shorts called? Tell Your Tale?
Tell Your Tale,
And then the main show is called Make Your Mark? Okay. So like I've been watching some of those with Paleo, and I was like, oh, I sort of got accustomed to the 2D things that they were doing with the little shorts, because like, okay, the movie, I think one of the things with the movie is like, it's such a good movie where like you see the animation is quality, all the stuff is quality, stuff like that. And so like whenever they go from that type of CGI to show CGI, it takes like a bit of to get accustomed to it, because it's just like, oh, they're a bit choppy comparatively to like what they are. It's like, it doesn't mean it looks bad. It just means that it's just like, oh, like watching this is just I'm noticing it. But if you go from like 3D to 2D, it's like, oh, that work, because it's just like this.
I noticed that Little Shy was actually saying on Twitter that there's a couple of techniques that they used in the movie that weren't used in the show.
Oh, yeah?
Like certain like emotion blurring moments, to where it looks kind of like choppy if that blur is not there.
Oh,
like, yeah. So
that's
it's just not like rendered like that.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
It almost sounds like the rendering itself was the issue. This reminds me of the 2017 movie when we all saw the trailer and we're like, it looks weird. Something's not right.
It's
and
so
then,
dark.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, what did they do? Mm-hmm. And then you saw the movie and you're like, oh, it's fine.
No, it's true. Like the movie was like fine. I think like overall the special was just like kind of, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was like great, but like, okay, so for example, if I compare the special to like the first 2 episodes of G4 like, those just grabbed me right away. I like the aesthetic, I like the characters, I like all that stuff, and I was like, oh, this just grabbed me. Make Your Mark special? The Make Your Mark special, I was like, oh, it's good to see these characters, and I grew accustomed to the voices relatively fast. Like, I was just like, oh, the voices, like, I actually, like, I vibe with them, like, it doesn't matter anything like that. But I was like, there are just some parts where I was like, this is kind of right now, but it's like, I've let it get better. But the thing with me is, like, also, I mentioned this to the people here, like, I've been a Transformers fan for a long time, and so there's just, like, so many generations of Transformers, like G1, freaking G2, where they just use G1 with all the crappy CGI edits and stuff like that, and then there's, like, Transformers Beast Wars, and Animated, and Prime, and all that stuff, so, like, and Armada, and all this stuff, so, like, Transformers has had a lot of good and, like, bad series or something like that, and I don't by any means think that this is bad or anything like that, but it's just one of those situations where I'm just like, oh, you're just getting your footing as you're just going from one gen to the next, so it's just like you're getting your footing, so that's what I think of it. It's just like it just needs to build up a bit more.
What do you think of the Transformers movies, live action?
I like the Bumblebee, and I like the 2007, I actually rewatched the 2007 movie recently just because it was on, and I was like, I actually don't mind this. The second, third, and fourth, I don't care for those ones, but like, I like the first one. I like the 80s movie a lot with Unicron and Galvatron and all that stuff. That movie had me bawling as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You said what?
They're fantastic, though. Can't you like
Okay.
so in regards to the G5 special, for me, and I know I say this, like we said, we are putting a Bronies React together for it, so I know I think I hit upon this point too. And then we also had our semi-perfect podcast where we talked a little bit about it as well. My take with it right now is that the special itself, like, they're dealing with 3D, and it's going to be on much more of a tighter budget than the movie was.
Right.
Which means that there's going to be a lot of tricks that they're going to have to kind of learn over time, where it's like, how can we mask the budget? For example, rendering things properly. That will help. But I really do feel like I'm willing to give the show some time to figure that stuff out. And the biggest reason is go back to the first season of Generation 4. Compare it to how Season 9 looked for Generation 4. It looks so different. The animation techniques, different. The characters, different. And by that I mean, over those years, the voice actors are able to create these characters as their own. And right now,
listen to how Applejack sounds in the first season.
Right,
she has a very high voice.
Right. So right now, I feel like it's not just on the animation side, but also what we're seeing is that, like, right now, a lot of I feel like for the voices, they're in a box right now where it's like, hey, here's the movie. Here's, we want you to sound like that. Like this is it. Over time, I feel like the voice actors are going to be able to evolve and create these characters as more of their own, and that's where we're going to start to see things really shine. And so hopefully within this first season of episodes is where we start to see both with the animation, where it starts to also kind of clean up. And I feel like we're going to see these voice actors be able to create these characters as more of their own, as opposed to like, it's got to be a little strange going from, okay, so you got the movie, now this is the box I'm in, versus let me start to put some of my own character into this, some of my own flavor, because that's what we saw eventually happen with the G4 ponies. Again, with how different Applejack was and how she evolved over time. So that's my thing. I'm willing to give it time to eventually see it look better. I feel like the characters are only going to get better as far as both the voice acting, the writing. It's all going to start to mesh the way I see it, the way I watched Generation 4 evolve from first season. So that's my take.
Well, I'm going to follow up on Jax talking about Transformers. Because when you saw the 1980s movie, which is still the best Transformers movie.
Damn straight.
The animation is superb. There's huge detail. It all flows so cleanly. And then you look at season 3, which takes place after the movie.
Yeah.
Good guy. I mean, really, before I came out to Whinny City, I was visiting with some friends from Fresno who would come out to my hometown. And one of them was just livid over the drop in quality. He couldn't tolerate the special as a result. I'm thinking back to that Transformers movie, season 3 contrast, like, dude, it ain't even on the same level.
Right.
My biggest thing is that there's a certain hunger for background ponies. We want to know them. We want to be able to mold this new character from both our imaginations and hints in the show. One thing I noticed is that the lead cast, if the town is involved, they still keep it within their little circle. They don't go out and try to work with other ponies in the community to get this Maritime Bay Festival going. And I think that's a weakness in the story because you're keeping it too focused on this clique when it's meant to encompass the town. Now, I also kind of get why they did that. It is the first Make Your Mark, but I'm really hoping that they'll widen the scope and let them really interact with the town.
Bring back Rob.
Bring back Rob. The most sensibly named pony in the entire place.
Right.
I wonder what his cutie mark looks like.
What's his last name?
It's just his face.
A burglar mask? My name's Rob.
Rob.
I was gonna.
See, I got it. Yeah, boo.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, with watching the Make Your Mark premiere or special or whatever, in the Tell Your Tale series, and like the different writing styles, it seems like they've split their two different writing styles into two different series. Where like the Tell Your Tale series is like the more humorous writing, and like the Make Your Mark is the more I don't want to say serious, but more like grounded writing. And it seems like there would be something in between that they could do, but I think they're both like trying to go into their own. Because like as I was watching the Tell Your Tale shorts and as they were going on, I was starting to like them more. So I'm hoping that's going to be the same thing with Make Your Mark when that comes out in September. So I think it's going to be like 8 or 9 episodes that are going to be the first like batch that we get.
Doesn't come out till September.
Yeah.
How are we going to survive?
Plenty of time to make the Bronies React. All right.
Yeah.
4 months.
Right. Oh, in that case, I need more time.
Yeah, I just hope those like writing styles like come into their own as it goes on.
Yeah. Now I know I saw we had a couple other questions out there, or did we answer those questions? Okay.
All right, so related to the Make Your Mark special, what you guys have been thinking about the YouTube Tell Your Tale stuff?
It kind of, honestly, because Paleo was showing me ones, I was like, there were some that like made me like laugh, because originally I was just sort of like, it's fine. And then like there are certain ones where I'm like, okay, that was funny. That made me laugh. But like I say like overall, if I look at, like, how many episodes are there, Paleo?
There's about 11 or 12 out right now.
Okay, 11.
Yeah.
So like after seeing all 11 episodes that I've seen so far, I'd say like it's fine with some like bits of like, okay, that was funny. Like it's just like, one of those like, sort of things like that. Or like there was one joke that made me laugh because it was pretty much race. And we were just like, could you imagine how he would feel if that happened to him?
It's like Pip is editing her vlog.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pip is editing her vlog, and then like Izzy accidentally like erases her vlog footage, and it's just like, and then she's trying to help, but she makes it worse. And I was like, could you fathom how much of a Homelander he would become if that happened to him?
I'd become the villain.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, you what, Paleo?
Ow, you hit my ear.
God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I see what you're saying. He's gonna. Well, now that we busted one eardrum, yeah, all weekend you guys have been going on about like your Homelander or whatever.
No, because okay, so for people who've seen The Boys, wow, Boys at a My Little Pony convention, wow, it's crazy. There is this. We just the first 3 episodes of it dropped, and me and Paleo like watched them together, and then we just realized Homelander and Race have these certain expressions where it's just like he's just like, hey, what you eating there, Val? It's just like that. It's just like.
I guess.
Oh God, it's so good.
The whole, yeah. Oh, next question.
Soldier.
Oh wait, did everyone answer about Tell Your Tale real quick?
My big thing is I find a lot of episodes funny. It introduces enough elements that they're familiar when Make Your Mark premieres. So they introduce the Glow House, they introduce main melody, all that stuff. So it ties in with, I say, continuity.
It does.
Which weren't we initially told it wasn't going to be canon? I thought we heard the YouTube series. It's like,
yeah,
because
it's funny because like I remember I was telling you about the Tell Your Tale episode. I was like, don't watch that first because like the Make Your Mark special like it spoils like a major plot point.
Yeah.
Same with the game too. They came out the same day.
Be careful what you wish for.
But since animation is really the biggest hurdle at the moment for enjoyment of either series, Equestria Daily said that they had an alternate style for the animation, the characters.
I did see that.
Without the finger hooves or legs, which still look kind of creepy. I would say it's very clear that Tell Your Tale is done on a budget, and they are taking shortcuts with the designs to make it easy to animate and get a lot done in a very short amount of time. It's like, the shape of the face and then the mouth just moves, whereas in G4, they had all these vectors of the mouth moving and taking different poses. I miss that style, but I'm not so turned off that I'm not enjoying Tell Your Tale. But if I ever get to drawing comics for G5, I'm probably going to just update the G4.
Yeah, update. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people are also doing it. Was like because after the movie came out, a lot of people were like drawing the ponies in the G4 style.
Yeah, I made a joke to them earlier. I was like saying like, what if it pulls like a really mega like American Dragon Jake Long, where they're just like after that season 1 of CGI, they're just like, no, let's just change it back. Let's just modify it to G4 stuff again. But it's like, make it like that.
Yeah, and real quick for me, I was just gonna say with Tell Your Tale, the nice thing is that for how short the episodes are, they feel harmless. It's like if you don't enjoy it, it's like that was 5 minutes. It's like okay,
right? It's like even 3 minutes for most of them. Yeah, really, like it's like 3.
But that's the thing. It's like hey, cool. It's not like you're investing like an hour into an episode and you're like, oh. So
like Stranger Things season 4 with like 90-minute episodes every episode.
You stole 5 minutes of my life. I want them back. Oh, I would have just wasted them anyway.
So did you have a question?
I did.
All right.
Have any of y'all thought of cosplaying or cosplayed in the past?
Well, I know one who's definitely cosplayed.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, okay, at MomoCon, that's all I did was like cosplay the entire weekend. It's fun.
You should tell them about your Sonic.
Oh yeah, I did a nice, sexy Sonic cosplay. That was amazing. If you go on my Twitter at Jaxblade Fitness, you can like scroll down.
Oh, I thought that was an ugly Sonic cosplay.
I will say it. I was gonna say that.
I'm still remembering when he pounced on you as Spider-Man.
There was that one time at MSP, the last MLP MSP, where Jax was in the full body like Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was there, and he jumps on stage during a Bronies React panel, and I'm just like what's happening right now?
Race's face like goes like this, so then he's just like.
I didn't know what I was like. Am I gonna get? Is this where it ends?
Yeah.
Is this died by Spider-Man cosplay?
Right. That was good. But yeah, cosplay is super fun. I think like the only annoying thing about it is sometimes like depending on the suit, is like this is either really hot or I don't know how to use a bathroom in this thing, and it's just like I have to readjust everything like to do it. Like because I was wearing like. Certain ones, like I wore, like for instance, if I talk about Momocon recently, I wore a Legend of Korra one. The Korra one was fine, but after a while, those little arm things she wears, they start like cutting off circulation. I was like, oh my god, how did she wear this crap? And then I was just like, that was annoying. Second day, Deku was pretty fine, but the wig was just getting everywhere. I was just like, I'm just gonna be real. I don't understand white people hair. Like I don't. It's just like you get bangs and stuff like that. I was like, how does this work? I'm just so used to having my fro, and I'm just like, what? And then like, yeah, it really is. And then I think the last day was Sexy Sonic, and that was just like, all I was really worried about was just like. They can't see my junk in this, can they? Like they can't.
Oh yeah.
I was just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I put on one of those what are cod pieces or something like that, or whatever they're called to like hide it. It was like, that was terrible.
Have you ever cosplayed?
Dude.
Every day.
Every day I'm shuffling. Let's see here. I put together what is it? 11th Doctor cosplay once. That was the Matt Smith Doctor. If I'm not counting correctly. So I had a fez. I had a sonic screwdriver, which I love to collect. And then my friends take a photo of me, but they take a toilet plunger and they hold it just off to the side. And I'm like, that damn well better be fresh out of the box. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of trust that goes into that.
There was a great deal of trust. I was like, don't you be waving that thing near my face.
Have you cosplayed ever?
I haven't cosplayed before.
I mean, you've dressed up as a shark at a convention.
Oh yeah, I did.
You're freaking cosplaying that dude from Infinity Train 4.
Oh.
I've never,
Yes.
I mean, outside of like Halloween or Halloween Reacts,
It's a box.
I did dress up as a box. I did do that. It was a painful time.
Oh, but it's all right.
I hope the box is all right. Who should I cosplay as?
Homelander.
Well, you already did Judy Hopps, so that's out.
That's out?
Well, you gotta try something. You gotta branch out.
Gotta try everything?
Majin.
No, I'm not a big... Did you have another question?
Yeah. Now I'm drawing a blank. Who would win question? I think I asked you this at a previous con before, but I'm gonna go again as an official who would win.
Okay.
Pinky Cheese and Lil Cheese versus the Animaniacs.
Pinky,
It's
cheese,
like
and little
whoever.
cheese.
I think it's whoever makes the other person play the straight man in that situation. Like, because when Toon Force characters is just like, because even Bugs Bunny has been outmaneuvered by like that turtle when he was like racing him. It's just like, what are you talking about? Or like when that gremlin was messing with Bugs Bunny, it's like, what are you talking about? So I think it depends on who can like make the other like stress out more. So I think the Animaniacs, they typically like, they seem like they mess with everyone, but I feel like Pinky, like sometimes like, honestly, the thing about it, it could go either way.
Because I think at the last con you asked me and Race this at was
Ponyville?
at Ciderfest, and I think because I think I went with Animaniacs because like I think they're more intense than Pinky Cheese and Little Cheese. So.
If it's,
I mean, does Little Cheese even have any powers? Because cheese, I feel like cheese can get. You know what? I think I agree with that because Pinky got upset with all the cheese stuff, and so like it showed that like
with the Animaniacs, like
how many times have they been flustered?
Weird. Huh?
How many times have the Animaniacs been flustered? Like I don't
know because they're always the ones doing the flustering,
right?
There's one time I know the Animaniacs were completely powerless.
Oh, okay.
It was an episode where they were at a party and they met this guy who just talked in a monotone the whole time.
Ben Stein.
Yeah,
Ben Stein.
That's their weakness.
And like for 24 hours, he's just with them, even brushing his teeth in their bathroom as they're all going to bed.
And he's just like, go away.
Go away.
I was gonna say on a violence scale, I feel like the Animaniacs would.
Oh yeah, they're definitely more violent.
I feel like Pinkie Pie would be like, haha, I pied you in the face, and they're like, here's an anvil to your skull.
But then they...
Yeah, that's a visual, isn't it? Don't worry, they're all cartoons.
They're all cartoons. But because the Animaniacs are usually the first to antagonize, almost by their own nature, that means they need to lose or have a down point by the end of the story.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in cartoons, it is the arrogant or the aggressive who are punished.
Right.
So even if they do beat Pinkie and her family, as soon as Maud Pie enters the scene, they're
Maud solos. Maud would dog walk them.
Hello.
So, out of all the departments, who would win for con staff?
Oh my gosh. The AV team, of course.
AV team.
All right. So let's see that. So you have your multiple departments. You got like security. You got AV. You've got, I guess you'd say, like the con heads.
The chairs.
Chairs.
We're gonna include. Yes, there's a lot of chairs.
There's
in
a
here.
lot of chairs.
Very good. Boo. I never should have had them boo. Now it's backfiring.
The best laid plans of ACs and men.
It's better than being quiet, as long as they're making noise.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I mean, okay. So look, I feel like whether this is a fight to the death or this is just a fight of like who is like, don't mess with us because the backbone. I don't say this lightly, that without the AV team and all the fires that you guys are constantly putting out, it would cause a lot of problems.
Well, they also have wires.
They're like, we just have to disconnect this one thing.
Right.
And you're done. You're done.
Oh, that was true. It was at BabsCon. The voice actress for Miss Maine, she was... Ellie Ray. She was throwing glitter all around, and look, it was a lot of fun, but the glitter got into an amplifier and caused a short out.
Oh.
And AV had to disassemble it, get one of those air sprays, and get all it out. So I too will put my hat as always off to the AV team. We would be crippled to present without them. Not to diss security or charity auction organization. All of you are so vital, but as presenters, I think we lean very heavily and trust very heavily in the AV team.
And plus, if we didn't say the AV team, our mics would go mute and the panel would be over. So. Well, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, they're coming out of the walls.
They're everywhere.
Don't you forget it.
How did Freddy Krueger get on staff?
No, but you're absolutely right. A lot of times I also work, for those that don't know, I work at racetracks as short track stock car racing announcer. Woo! And so I do a lot of work on mic there as well. And there are a lot of folks that just don't get the credit they deserve there too. Like, we have a lot of officials that work behind the scenes. We have an AV staff at those tracks as well. A lot of stuff that's happening, security, everything that makes that event happen, that they don't get the shout out. I'm on mic, and at the end of the night, the track owner, he's also on mic, and he's like, thank you, you guys. And it's like, yeah, thanks. But it takes a whole team. It takes everybody. And the same thing goes for conventions. All of the volunteers here, they're taking time out to put this on for us. And so whenever you see them, it's okay to say thank you. Be like, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to be helping out at this convention. So whether it's from the AV staff doing the phenomenal job that they always do, it's from security, being posted wherever they need to be, everyone from the chairs on down, these cons could not happen without volunteers. So I'm always forever thankful to all their hard work. Next question.
I'd like to hear from all four of you. I'd like to hear the craziest getting to the con store, like the stories that you can recall. Just getting to the convention, whether it's airport, whether it's this is not directed specifically at any one particular panelist.
Why are they like this?
Because we love watching you suffer. It brings joy to our lives.
That's why I make the reacts, because I know you guys like watching us.
I want to hear everybody craziest.
All right, well, I do too. Bring me back to Earth, guys.
I literally, I knock on wood. Okay, I haven't had any like issues like with most of that because
I haven't either.
Yeah,
have fun on your flights home.
No, exactly. That's why.
Never? You guys have never had even like the
getting
slightest
to the con?
delay or anything?
I mean, like we got delayed when we went to
getting home. Yeah.
Yeah, getting home was annoying.
Okay, I will provide I've had delays or layovers. Those are kind of the usual. But my worst getting to the con story mostly has to do with my own incompetence and a lack of foresight. This was Pony Fest, and it was in New Jersey. And I saw some interesting sights. I can never unsee them. So the airport is far, far away from the hotel. And I'm riding with the Wolfie Wolf, a fellow YouTuber. And I'm like, I figured I was just going to get a lift and take me there. And he looks at me, do you know how much that would cost? Very monetary minded. So he puts me on, let's take the train. And he was right. I mean, it was quite the trek to get there. I probably would have been deep in the red if I had taken a lift. But then when we get there, they're like, do you want to take a shuttle from the bus to the hotel? And I look at the map. It's not that far. We might as well walk and maybe and see what's around, maybe spot a place to eat later. The neighborhood looked like it had been through an earthquake with all the cracks and uneven. I mean, the sidewalk was literally at...
So there were a lot of plumbers there?
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Margin.
See, now you're being punished.
Margin.
But basically, and we're wheeling our carts behind us, which are going. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm just seething at myself the entire way. I was like, should have taken the shuttle. Should have taken the shuttle. And Wolfie's not saying I told you so, but by God, you knew he was thinking it.
So, I can't think of any. So this weekend was absolutely the worst. Because for those that don't know, I work basically a 9 to 5. I'm a mechanical engineer, and because of because of a lot of the conventions and whatnot, like it's not just conventions for me, it's also racing events. Sometimes I need to take time off for, so it's a lot of time throughout the year. And when you work for a company, that means you have a limited amount of time off. So I always look to maximize that, which means what I typically do for these conventions is when I get off work on Thursday, that's when I fly, and it's typically a red-eye flight where I arrive Friday morning at some point, try to get as much hours of sleep before opening ceremonies, and then hit the ground running, just go. That was the plan for this weekend, and obviously, as many have heard, United Airlines ended up delaying my flight 12 hours, and which means instead of arriving here at 6 a.m., I got here at 6 p.m. and missed all of Friday. Thankfully, that's never happened before. And again, at this point, and I keep bringing this up, like I have a spreadsheet just kind of keeping track of all the cons I've been to, and I've seen this recently where people have been mentioning like on Twitter, like, oh, here's all the cons I've been to. I'm almost at number 50. Like, yeah, a lot of these conventions. And still love them, absolutely. It's always such an honor to be part of these. And in all that run, I guess it was bound to happen eventually that I was going to have something like this happen. and it did hit me. So obviously we know that story. I was gonna say I did have another flight issue once, and it was getting to, I think it was. Now I'm trying to remember. I was getting to BronyCon, which luckily I had planned on getting there in advance. Now I'm trying to remember what year it was. It might have been 2019.
The final one?
The final one, yeah, which I think we were going to arrive a day early, which really paid off. What ended up happening is I think we were flying Southwest that time, and...
I think it was 2018.
Was it 2018? Thank you. I love it when people know more about my life. Seriously, I'm like, thank you. So let's say 2018. I was going to say 2019, I feel like I would have been like, this can't happen.
Yeah.
2018 is like, there'll be plenty of BronyCons. So anyways, what ended up happening is we had a connecting flight in Vegas, which shouldn't be a big deal because, that's not a long flight. It's like, oh yeah, and I think I think there might have been a delay beforehand, and then we landed, and then they were like, oh yeah, we'll try to get you guys, like I kept watching the time, and I'm like, this is gonna be really close for our connecting flight, because it was not a long connection. It was like we had like 45 minutes, and when things start delaying, you start going, there goes my time, and the Southwest connecting flight we were supposed to make didn't want to wait the 10 minutes for our whole group, our whole plane, so like 30 people suddenly were stranded in Vegas. Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was not happy. I was like, seriously? But because it was midday, they're like, well, we do have other like alternate flights that you can do to get there. So I ended up at one point in Ohio, and then I had to sleep there for like 4 hours. And then I was like, what's happening right now? Like, where are we? And there were a couple other pony people that we were with on the flight. And so we all just were like going through this experience together. It was funny. Actually, and again, going on to 2018, I think that was Sarah's first time going to BronyCon.
Yeah,
so,
2018.
So she's like, oh, what a great travel experience. Yes. At least I had someone to cry on their shoulder. But that one at the time, I was like, man, what a mess. And then I had Friday happen, and I'm like, well, it could be worse. All right. So good luck on everyone getting home. How many of you are flying, by the way? Yeah, I hope you guys knocked on wood.
Well, I did. Oh, good. Okay.
Is it wood? But yeah, good luck to everyone. I know this is a weird time that we're all going through. I just, one last thing I want to say, and this is ranty, but I'm like, how long do we accept airlines being like, yeah, we're still understaffed. It's like no one wants to work.
Oh no, don't you hear? It's all weather phenomenon.
Weather phenomenon. Oh, and then here's our email saying, by the way, your crew has worked their maximum hours, so your flight's grounded for 12.
Really?
Like, I'm like, man, like, I get it. Like, this is like, I don't run an airline, I don't run a corporation, but I'm always like, we've been hearing this whole understaffing thing for so long, and I get that we're in a weird time right now in all of our lives with a pandemic and coming out of it, but I'm like, all right, so is this like, a lot of companies have gone through the whole deal of like, oh man, people aren't willing to work for what we were offering at the time, but we're still not willing to offer anymore.
Not willing to pay.
So it's like, yeah, we're understaffed, and I'm just like, how long do we allow that to be acceptable? The problem with airlines is that when we go, well, that's unacceptable, they go, okay, take the train.
Yeah, flap your arms.
Fine. So yeah. Do we have any other questions out there? Here we go. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know you're tired of seeing me race, but...
Never tired.
So
From the moment I saw you at the movie theater, I went, this is going to be good. That's how we met, by the way. We first saw each other at the 2017 movie.
Yeah, I had my Rarity plush with me, and I still didn't know what I was doing at the time. So.
Yeah, didn't I tell you then? I'm like, hey, you should check out conventions.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
Yeah, now I'm at my 11th one, so...
Yeah, I guess you've taken my advice.
Pretty much. Now I'm a community guest for the third time. So.
Welcome back again.
So this question's for all four of you. Going back from the bad moments, so I want to know your four's funniest moments from any convention.
People always ask this, and I'm like, there's so
Funniest moments.
Oh, okay. I got one. Well, I got several, but here's my favorite. This was at BronyCon, I will say 2016. We were doing this reviewer panel, all these YouTubers, and someone joked, "Oh, I ship Silver Quill and Firebrand." So I get up and I have a hand on my heart and my other arm outstretched, and I walk towards Firebrand, and he throws a cup of water in my face. And I maintain the pose, and I sit back down, and I look at the audience, and I say, "Josh made me wet." And the whole room erupts in laughter. Josh Scorcher is just point down. And one of the BronyCon staff sort of just walks by the table and whispers, "Family show." I think that was their way of saying, "Okay, you get one." And you just used it.
BronyCon gave up on us. Where they were like, it's not going to work. Don't even remind them.
But that was the moment I both embarrassed a friend, got an entire convention room laughing, and probably got on their naughty list.
Not just theirs, trust me. So whenever I think about like some of the hardest I've laughed at conventions, a lot of those involve the Who's Line shows that we've done. So, but I was trying but I want to think of something specifically outside of that panel, and then I went, oh yeah, I think the hardest I laughed was the first time, or just after the first time, Saber Spark and I met Lauren Faust.
Oh yeah.
Now, just by a quick raise of hands, is there anyone that is unaware of this story? Is there anyone going, I don't know? All right. So, BabsCon a couple years ago. Saber and I neither had met Lauren Faust, but she was a guest out in BabsCon. That's a convention in San Francisco. And so Saber and I were idiots. And somebody had handed us these like really weird like balloon things.
Balloon
they look
swords.
Yeah, balloon sword things. And of course, naturally, we had to beat the crap out of each other with these things. And we were riding up the elevator and smacking each other. And Saber has this moment. Now I'm going to pause. And I'm going to say, previously on an episode. Now we go to Equestria LA. We're walking up to an elevator. Bonnie Zackerley is there. All right, it was her first time ever at a My Little Pony convention. And we saw Lauren Faust going down an escalator, and Saber was like, I want to call out to her and say, Lauren, thank you for everything you've done. And then he goes, no, I don't want to be an embarrassment. I don't want to embarrass myself. And he chucks down this plastic cup he was holding right in front of the elevator. It hadn't opened yet until he released, and it's falling in slow motion. And it begins to open. And who's standing in the front of the elevator with open-toed shoes? None other than Bonnie Zackerley. And this thing goes and shatters. And she looks down and she goes, what the heck? And Saber just jumps down, and as he describes it, starts picking up all his spaghetti. And he's like, I'm so sorry. He's picking this up. And he's like, I can't believe that I was dying laughing at that moment. Fast forward back to BabsCon in San Francisco, and once again, we're in an elevator. We're smacking each other with these balloon swords. And Saber opens his big mouth and goes, imagine if Lauren's there. And we keep beating the crap out of each other, and the door opens up, and Lauren Faust is standing right there, and we both stop, and you can see the moment. I didn't realize at the time I was still filming because we were coming from a panel. And so I was holding my camera on a tripod that was still extended, but I forgot it was recording. So I didn't realize it was still, you could see Saber's face, and the moment those doors open, you could visually see his soul leave his body. He just...
It's a good thing it was recording.
And And that was our moment to tell Lauren, thanks for everything, Lauren.
That's why you never stop recording.
And they got in the elevator, we got out, and as soon as those doors shut, we were on the ground. We're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, what is it with you and elevators? So yeah, that was, I think, the wildest, funniest moment, where it was like, are you serious? What about you guys, now that I've bought you some time? Funniest moment.
I can't think of anything. Because there's like always too many. Like it's always just hanging with this group of people or something like that. Like it's just, there's too many things, like Saber sleep talking. When there was one time, what was it, like in 2016 where me and Hirasashi were like hanging with Paleo and Saber, and Saber had been sleep talking, and then it was just like, okay, whatever. And then I remember it was like freaking like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. or something like that. And then Hiro like taps me on the shoulder and he's just like, Saber's gone. And I was like, what? And I was like, what? What do you mean? And then like I went like immediately to dad mode. Like usually I'm big brother. I'm like, where did he go? Like, what are you talking about? And then he was just like, yeah, he's not here. And I'm just like, what the? And so I like went out. And then like I came, and then I noticed Paleo was gone too. And I was like, where are these at? Like it's just like, where are my kids at? Where are my freaking kids at? And I'm just like, oh my god. And so like I like go looking for both of them. And then Paleo was downstairs hanging with like a mutual friend of ours. And then like Saber, I don't remember where he was at, but he came back.
He was on the roof in his boxers.
Yeah, probably. No, it was just like, that was one of the times I'll always remember with like, cause Hiro just like, it was like a horror movie. He was just like, Saber's gone. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like it's,
It's your turn.
Oh, I was also gonna talk about like a sleep talking moment with Saber, because like he got, I think it was like 2013 or 14, because I know we were rooming with Galaxy Art.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is the
2013.
BronyCon one. We had like 12 people in a room.
Yeah.
That was 2013.
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there were a lot of people in that room.
Yeah. So like Saber was getting up, and he went by Galaxy Art, who was sleeping on the floor in like a sleeping bag, and he said, "Move! I have to build the railroad." And Galaxy Art just
he's just looking up at him like,
he's
like so scared.
He was like half asleep, and he's like, "Okay," and he just moved.
He accepted it. He's like, good point, yeah. And he like moved out of the way.
BronyCon. Was that Brony breakdown panel? Y'all talked about that?
We've talked about that one a couple times.
I gotta find that. That was like
that one was also caught in the vlog of that weekend because Carl Galaxy Art was just
scared.
like, he was like, I mean, yeah, the railroad.
Oh, was this before or after I broke his toe? This was accident.
You did what?
No, because I accidentally broke Carl's toe at BronyCon 2013.
When?
Apparently, like on one day when we were like hanging out, and then I did something Jaxel, and then like something happened where he like broke his toe from it, and then like the entire rest of the weekend he was just walking with a broken toe.
I thought that's just how he walked.
No. So like he was talking about it later. It's like, oh yeah, you broke my toe, and I was like, what are you talking about? Because we used to do those streams together. We used to live stream together, and he was like, yeah, like it was like broken when like I got back home. I had it checked out, and I was just like, why didn't you tell me? Like I would have like driven you to the hospital or something.
No wonder he never showed up.
Yeah, I know, right? That was his only BronyCon.
Well, thank you for your question, Taylor.
No problem. And I just wanted to say, it hasn't snowed yet.
I know. I thought maybe not in June, but I still, for those that know Joe Morganti, he's worked with the con a number of times. He's been hanging out with us a little bit this weekend. And when it started sprinkling last night, I'm like, it's getting kind of cold, Joe. He's like, it's not going to snow. I'm like, I'm just saying. But yeah.
But again, and also I've been to Portillo's now, and I can say the chocolate cake shakes are to die for.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is I should get one before I leave.
Jax, I told you. Yeah, you should get one.
Okay.
Get one, yeah.
I'll try one.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. First, I do want to say, like, earlier when you mentioned asking Panama Matt to be on the Bronies React, it's like, oh no, don't want to put my face out. And then just like last month with the Sonic video on your gaming channel, like, oh, he's just right behind you on the couch, face hole in view.
Yeah, there he was. For those that don't know, and actually thanks for bringing this up. There they are. For anyone that is interested, my wife and I have a gaming channel now called Ready Player Dumb, and I got some stickers that I'm going to pass out at the end of the convention for anyone that wants a sticker. But yeah, when you bring that up, yeah, Panama Matt had made an appearance on there, and he's probably going to make more. He's also part of a number of the games we do. Matt's a very I don't even know how would you describe Matt? He's
imposter.
Panama Matt.
Okay, Panama.
Always imposter.
Always imposter, even when he's not. But he's very much kind of the more
chill.
Tries to be practical, and it's stop it.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop it. We're playing a video game.
We're
Stop
playing a
with the
video game.
practicalities. I give him such a hard time, and we have a huge amount of Sea of Thieves content that's going to be coming out. We just got into that game, and we get into it so many times. Why are you turning that way? Well, why aren't you on the cannons? Well, I don't know. What are you doing? So there's a lot of stuff coming there.
And my main question is, I know in the past I've asked interesting moments during filming for Bronies React, but what was the most interesting episode to film for Bronies React?
Episode to film?
I mean, G3.5 for me immediately comes to mind.
Right.
I had an out-of-body experience during that one. I think I blanked out for a little bit. Sarah needed to resuscitate me at one point. I was in a box. It was weird.
It was fun. I'll go standard with that. The T-Rex moment, the T-Rex moment for me, I was just I'm just gonna give my all for this because I remember I sent Race footage and it was very, very brief and it's are you sure this is all you want to send me?
You sent me 3 minutes of footage. I'm
are you sure?
Was this everything?
Yeah, I was
yes.
I got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing left. And so I just gave my all with that T-Rex fight. So that was the most fun. Because I had to wait because I was living with my parents and I wanted to make sure they weren't in the house. So I had to wait for them to leave the house because I would just be what are you screaming about? What are you screaming about? It was because it's just especially when it was black parents what the hell's wrong with you, boy? Well, why are you doing that? It's what are you screaming about? It's just so loud.
But that moment became iconic, Jack. So thank you for sacrificing yourself.
That's right.
I'm going to say it's a toss-up between the G4 movie, which featured any number of weird moments, and then the first episode of Pony Life. That is the one time I have earned my way out to the title card by looking absolutely thunderstruck by what is going on and not having a clue. Just wondering what is this? I don't even.
I always like the episodes that we filmed while we were at conventions because we were oh yeah, there's an episode coming out. Let's just film and react to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those are fun. I always think back to the one where Noakin walks in and goes, "Who's that?" And we're it's Starlight Glimmer. Starlight's been here for years.
All right.
But thank you again. Hello.
Hi.
Right.
Have you seen the new Chippendales live-action Rescue Rangers movie?
I sure have. Do you have any specific questions about it, or just general thoughts?
I have no idea.
I'll go with general thoughts. How about that? Yes, have seen it. Have you all seen it?
Yeah.
I've seen clips of it. Yeah, I know.
Too busy watching Tell Your Tale.
Watching Tell Your Tale, getting ready for this little convention called Whinny City.
Yes. Again, for those that don't know, I actually have been in the Chippendale Rescue Ranger fandom. Yes, there is a fandom for that show that ended back in the early 90s. I was very excited about the movie coming out, especially when I saw the trailer, because I didn't know what to expect. I'm they can either go oh yeah, we're really trying to continue where they're at or whatnot, or we're going to do something crazy. And then they clearly did something crazy. And I had a lot of fun with it. I really did enjoy it as a fan, of the show and whatnot. I felt like the approach they took with it. I won't get into too many spoilers for those that haven't seen it, but basically, it's basically an alternate universe type setting where the show is treated as a show and the characters are treated as actors for the show. So it doesn't take anything away from the actual show, while also just creating this wild and wacky adventure that I got a lot of laughs out of. And actually, I'm working on putting together, I don't know how the copyright stuff's going to work for it, but Sarah and I did film our reaction to it. So yeah, that's something that I'm also editing amongst con vlogs and Bronies Reacts and everything. So I'll be putting that out.
Having said I only watch clips, I did catch wind of the outrage fans have had of a now canon couple.
Well, to be fair, that now canon couple were perceived as actors, so they weren't actually the characters in the show that did this, because that'd be a completely different story. Because it was like, I mean, if you have the freaking Allstate guy, like you understand why they fell for her. So okay.
Well, and my biggest thing too with that is I figured that was a moment that was gonna where the OG fandom was gonna go, no, absolutely not cool, because there were actual like chronicled Ranger Wars, as they were called back in the day, where they were like, people would fight over, actually get into like legitimate fights that would tear up the community over who should Gadget end up with, Chip or Dale. And I felt like that was actually a direct like, we know this existed and we are just gonna completely screw with it. And actually the fandom seemed to embrace it for the most part, like, that's so ridiculous, it's funny. Right. It's like, why not?
Well, I mostly saw like the 8channer reactions, which were far more hostile. But then I made the critical mistake of looking up on Twitter people's reactions. And the things I saw cannot be unseen.
Yeah.
No.
And that's what you have it. So yeah, that was our thoughts on that. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so I see we have 2 more. We're gonna hammer through this real quick so we can finish up le panel. Hello.
Hello. Lauren Faust, Balloon Swords Elevator Video, where at?
On ACRacebest.
On YouTube. It's both in the vlog of BabsCon, and then I think it's literally titled Race and Saber Meet Lauren Faust. Yeah. That's the name of it. So yes, it is there, it is waiting, it is ridiculous. You can see our stupidity on screen, just like any con vlog, so. Yes, enjoy. And the final question of Bronies React.
Hello.
Hello.
This is my first time at a convention.
All right, let's make some noise. Welcome.
And I have 2 questions.
Okay.
1, what are your thoughts on the new mascot? Or
Oh, the new mascot.
Where is the mascot?
Is this the new mascot?
Yep.
That's I like him.
Cute. I am. So is the pony cosplaying?
Nay.
I put them. I said them, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like
EM.
say EM. So them.
Okay.
And then?
Oh, and second, what is your favorite Bronies React video?
Favorite Bronies React video? Well, who wants to start?
I mean,
I will say it is the Twilight's Kingdom reaction video, specifically for Jax and his wonderful physicality. If y'all need a reminder, he is getting so into this fight between Tyrek and Twilight. He is just bouncing up and down his seat until he caps over, falls, there's this loud crash, and then the energy is still there as he just gives a quick expletive.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of the funniest reactions.
Oh, thank you.
It cemented it as one of my favorite videos.
Oh, thank you.
I think I like the finale react, or the series finale react, just for the sentimentality of it.
Yeah. Did you already say?
I mean, there's so many that like crack me up because like I just look at various things like there's so many moments like Silver Quill, you've cracked me up with like either your puns are just like, oh, that's a very witty thing, or like Race, you losing it in the box, and then like Paleo with the da da. Like I still rewind that.
And the
like,
shark.
I have that saved, but like a favorite one like specifically, you know, I do. Honestly, I think I really enjoy like the cupcakes one.
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah.
cupcakes one we did where like we're all like
Throwback.
in different things. Or like Smile HD was also fun.
Where we
Smile-
dressed up.
Smile. I love when we dress up. Like,
Yeah.
that's super fun. Just
Yeah.
cosplay stuff. Yeah.
My favorite one, it also falls under the sentimentality, was the react that we put together for the end of Generation 4. And not only did I have a lot of fun as usual putting that together, and we had some funny moments and got some laughs out of it, the biggest thing for me is having done this series for so many years and going around, I wanted to do something special for that and bring back as many of the reactors that I wanted to bring back which honestly, that's a large chunk of the people, some of which had only done one React, some of which I really only interacted with when we were doing that one React. And I got into contact with these people, some of which who haven't been in the fandom for over 5 or 6 years. And to see them, how they were willing to come back and be a part of this one video talking about how My Little Pony changed their life, and hearing about all that stuff, and just, again, just people's willingness to work with me again. I was like, wow, like that was my moment where I'm like, maybe I have done an okay job as far as, because I've always wanted people to enjoy working on the series, like not feel like, oh, I got to do this or whatnot. And then seeing also the show staff get involved with that one as well. That one was truly heartwarming. And again, it all comes back to the support that we've had for the Bronies React series over all these years. I can't thank all of you enough for continuing to be such an awesome audience, for joining us here at these panels. As we wrap up this one, all I can say once again is thank you all.
The final one was really good. Yeah, like the final one is like legitimately like heartwarming to just see like everyone get.
People were like, it was a live premiere, and seeing all the comments of like, you can't do this, you can't make me cry, and I'm like, you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
With that, folks, that is a wrap here on this Bronies React panel. Thank you again for coming out to Whinny City Pony Con 2022. We certainly hope to see you all next year. Again, thank you for your support, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.